Let us see the next problem. Sketch the complete root locus of the system having g of s is equal to k divided by s into s plus 2 into s square plus 6s plus 25. So here you can see how many poles and how many zeros are present. So in the numerator there are no s functions, so no zeros. So total number of zeros equal to 0. And in the denominator there are many roots. How to find out the roots? S equal to 0, that is one root. S equal to minus 2 is another root. This is a quadratic equation. We need to find out the roots. So if we solve this quadratic equation, we will be getting minus 3 plus or minus 4j. Two roots will be getting. So total number of poles, that is root from the denominator, are 4. So total number of poles are equal to 4. And in the previous problems you have not seen the roots of denominator function as complex numbers, but in this problem you have complex roots, that is complex poles you have. Next, let us locate the poles and zeros on the S plane. So first one is 0 and at minus 2 another pole, another one is complex pole, that is minus 3 plus 4j. This is minus 3 plus 4j is, this is the location, and minus 3 minus 4j. So like this you need to locate the poles. There are no zeros, no need to mark 0 here. Also you can see the poles are the starting point of the root locus and zeros are the ending point. So this is a pole and this is another pole. So this pole should be the starting point, so it has to move away from this point, the point away from the pole, and with respect to this pole at the origin, the arrow or the root locus branch should move away from this pole. This is the direction of these two poles, but you can't say the direction of the complex poles here only. So you can only find out the direction of poles or zeros which are on the x-axis. Next, breakaway point should exist between 0 and minus 2 because only two poles are present here. So in between that, if the direction of these two poles are like this, at some point here, somewhere here, or in between these two poles, somewhere between these two, you'll be getting one point there. Both the poles will meet together and diverge to different directions. That comes between 0 and minus 2 only. So the breakaway point should exist between 0 and minus 2. Total number of branches of root locus, that is n equal to, which is the maximum greater value among poles and zeros. So poles are 4, zeros are 0. So we need to consider 4 total number of branches are present in this problem. How we are going to find out which branch is root locus and which is not? So after one pole, I will be considering one random point to the right side of this, count the number of zeros and ones. Only one pole is there, so complete branch from this pole to this pole is a root locus. So after another pole, if I consider this branch to the right side of this, the total number of roots are 2, so that's an even number. You can't consider the next branch as a root locus branch, so it is non-root locus. And also always this breakaway point should occur on the root locus branch itself. It can't be present on non-root locus branch. That's why the breakaway point should always between 0 and minus 2 in this problem, that is on the root locus. In the next step, find out number of asymptotes, that is infinite branches. P minus z gives the number of infinite branches. There are 4 infinite branches are there. Asymptotes gives the direction of those 4 infinite branches. Which are the directions? We need to find out the angle of asymptotes. One is in the direction of 45 degree, 135 degree, 225 degree and 315 degree. and these asymptotes has to meet. The starting point should be an intersection point of asymptotes, that is centroid, that you need to find out. So here in the first case, summation of real parts of the poles. 4 poles were there. First one is 0, second one is -2, third one is -3 plus 4j. In -3 plus 4j, -3 is the real part. You need to consider only the real part of the pole. You should not consider 4j because that is the imaginary part. And also another one is -3 minus 4j. There also you are considering the real part, that is -3. So there are no zeros, so I'll put 0. P minus z is 4 minus 0, that is 4. So 8 by 4 is 2, that is negative. This is the intersection point, the starting point of the asymptote. It is a centroid. Let us draw all the directions on the S-plane. All the 4 poles are already located. Starting from -2 is a centroid and pole is also present, so don't worry about that. Just mark the directions in all 4 directions, 4 angles. Next step is breakaway point. So in between 0 and -2, breakaway point should present. So how to find out this breakaway point? First, find out the characteristic equation 1 plus g of s and h of s. G of s is already given. You need to find out 1 plus g of s equal to 0. So from that you got this equation. This is the characteristic equation from the given transfer function. First separate k term as well as s term and then differentiate k with respect to s. We'll be getting this expression, and consider the positive expression and find out the roots for this. So find out the root for the equation number 2. We'll be getting 3 roots, that is minus 0.898 and the one is minus 2.55 plus or minus 2.722j. These are the 2 roots. So total 3 roots you are getting. This is 1 and these are 2. And always while considering the breakaway point, don't consider the complex number. Here you are getting complex number as a root, so don't consider this. So check whether this is a valid or not. So in order to find out the breakaway point is valid or not, first check whether this point is in between 0 and -2, that is on the root locus or not. Yes, of course it is between 0 and -2. So first one is okay. Second one is you should substitute this s in the equation number 1. So substitute s in this equation number 1, you should get a positive value for k. So once you substitute this value minus 0.898 to this equation, you'll be getting positive k. So it is a valid one. So valid breakaway point is s equal to minus 0.898. Next, you need to find out the intersection point on imaginary axis. In the same way, you need to find out the characteristic equation. The same characteristic equation can be used, and you need to construct the root array in this step. So starting from s bar 4 to s bar 0, construct the root array. First, in the first 2 rows, you need to substitute or arrange the coefficients of this characteristic equation. First one is 1, 8, 37, 50, k, 0. Now multiply 8 and 37 minus 1 into 50 divided by 8. So that gives 30.75, and 8 into k minus 0 is 8k divided by 8 is k. Next, 30.75 into 50 minus 8k divided by 30.75. You can't directly write the answer. So whatever the term you are getting, the same thing need to be written as it is. Next, 0. At last you will be getting k. Here, in order to find out the marginal k value, you need to equate this whole term to 0. 1537.5 minus 8k equal to 0. So k margin will be equal to 182.1875. So if you substitute the k margin as 182 in this equation, so this will become 0. And S bar 1 row will be having only 0 elements. So all the elements in the S bar 1 row are 0. So in order to find out the roots, you need to write the auxiliary equation using the previous row. So here the coefficient of S square is 30.75. Here S1 is this and this is S bar, 0 coefficient is K. So 30.75 S square plus K equal to 0. That will be the auxiliary equation. Now substitute K equal to 182 in place of K. Next find out S, that is root. So we'll be getting 2 roots. So S is equal to plus or minus 2.5j. This is the intersection point on the j omega axis. And in this problem you have complex poles in the problem. While calculating the roots in the first step, it was a complex pole. So in case of complex poles or complex zeros, you need to find out the angle of departure and angle of arrival, because whatever the poles which are on the real axis, that is x-axis, for those poles the directions will be directly given by the angle of asymptotes. But if the complex poles are present in the S plane, so you need to find out the direction of those poles. So how to find out this angle of departure? First, locate all the poles, and here I'll be considering in the positive real axis, consider any of the pole or 0 as a reference root or a reference point. So I'll be considering this pole as a reference point for me, and connect the remaining poles or zeros to this reference point. So like this is the first pole, and this is the second pole, and this is the third pole. So in angle of departure as well as angle of arrival, you need to keep one root which is on the positive real axis as a reference point, and connect the remaining roots. It may be a 0 or pole. So mark this, connect all the points, and to the real axis and also with respect to the reference point, you need to find the angles. So the angle between this real axis and to the reference pole. Find out the angles. I'll consider the first pole angle as phi p1 and the second pole angle as phi p2, third pole angle as phi p3. So these are the three angles in order to find out the angle of departure. This is the angle of poles, angles which are created by the poles. If you connect any 0 to this reference point, that will become phi z, that is the angle of 0, angle made by 0. But here 0 is not present, only poles are present, so I am considering only phi p1, phi p2, phi p3. How to find out these values of phi p1, phi p2, phi p3? So you can directly say that the phi p1 is 90 degree. So directly you can write phi p1 as 90 degree, and phi p2, how we are going to find out the phi p2 value? So if I consider this angle as theta, so I know the value of this side, that is 0 to 4j means the magnitude of this is 4, and this side, adjacent side, minus 2 to minus 3 is 1. If I take the magnitude, it is 1, it is 4. So let us consider this as a 4 and this as a 1. If I want to find out angle theta, so I can write the equation as tan inverse of opposite by adjacent. So tan inverse of 4 by 1, that gives a value of theta. So how to find out phi p2? So phi p2 can be written as 180, this complete degree is 180, minus theta, that is tan inverse of 4 by 1, tan inverse of opposite by hypotenuse. So for phi p2 I can write it as 180 degree minus theta, or 180 degree minus tan inverse of 4 by 1. So that gives 101.03 degree, that is phi p2. Next, how to find out this 5p3. So this is also similar to that. 180 degree minus this angle gives 5p3. So what is this angle? Opposite side is 4 and the adjacent side is 3. So 180 degree minus tan inverse of 4 by 3, that gives 126.86 degree. So now to find out the angle of departure, the equation is 180 degree minus summation of 5p minus summation of 5z. So here summation of 5p gives 5p1 plus 5p2 plus 5p3. You need to add all the angles made by poles. That gives the summation of 5p. So that is 90 plus 101 plus 126, that gives 320 degree. There are no zeros in this problem, so summation of 5z can be treated as 0 only. So 5d is equal to 180 degree minus 320.89 degree, that gives minus 140.89. So this is the angle of departure that gives the direction of these complex poles, this one as well as this one. Next, let us draw the final root locus. So all the poles are already located and the angle of asymptotes are already marked. You need to mark the centroid, that is minus 2 only. The breakaway point is minus 0.898, that is in between 0 and minus 2. And the intersection point on imaginary axis are plus 2.5j and minus 2.5j. So next I need to plot the root locus. So among these two, the poles which are present on the real axis should move. So first I will be considering this pole. So that will come till the breakaway point and go past the intersection point on imaginary axis and goes in the direction of 45 degree. And another one is the pole at 0, that will also start from 0 and pass through breakaway point and crosses minus 2.5j towards 315 degree angle. So these are the two infinite branches. Another two infinite branches are also there. The direction of the main root locus branch is given, but the inclination to the complex poles are not known. That can be obtained from the angle of departure. So for the positive real axis pole, that is minus 140 degree they have given. So this is minus 140 degree. So you need to take it in a clockwise direction. If it is plus 140, you should have considered in the anti-clockwise direction, but it is minus 140, so take it in the opposite direction. This is 140 and the curve must be starting in the direction of 140 and goes in the direction of 135 degree. And similarly the negative pole is also minus 140 should be read in a anti-clockwise direction. So like this. So this is minus 140 degree because it's a negative real axis. So consider it in the anti-clockwise direction, and from 140 degree to 225 degree the curve will turn, and this is the movement of all the poles in this problem with the four different infinite branches in a different directions, that is 45, 135, 225 and 315 degrees. Thank you. This completes root locus.